Nick, you've been following Patrick Mahomes' career since the Chiefs grabbed him, and he's been so successful ever since. What do you think is on the line for Patrick Mahomes this Sunday?
Well, I love the quote. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that I hope to have a lot of times, and that is spot on. Dan Marino got there in year 2. I'm sure he knew it was once in a lifetime, but thought he'd have a bunch more, and he didn't. Aaron Rodgers got there his 3rd year as a starter, has never been back. So I anticipate, I think a lot of people anticipate Patrick will be on the stage a lot of times, but it's not guaranteed. So you have to treat it like that once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. But if they win Sunday, he joins Jim Brown and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as the greatest opening 2 years of a career in sports history. That's what happens if they win Sunday. Like Brady's first 2 years, they win a Super Bowl his first year as a starter. The next year, they miss the playoffs. Russell Wilson make the playoffs both years, win the Super Bowl in year 2. But his level of play, he wasn't an MVP caliber player yet. Jim Brown, his first 2 years in the pros, won a league MVP, got to an NFL championship game and they lost, won a league MVP, got to the playoffs and they lost. He was instantly the best player in the sport. Kareem walked into the NBA as an All-NBA player, as the best player in the league, and by year 2, champion, league MVP, finals MVP. If they win the title this year, Coach, his open to his career, league MVP first year as a starter in the Final Four, and then a Super Bowl championship as a quarterback, you can put the beginning of his career up against any athlete, any sport in American sports history.
Yeah, and as we've talked about Mahomes, and I know you were in on Mahomes early, as we've talked through I'm definitely on the side of we need to take it slow. We need to see how he evolves. We need to see how he performs in these big moments. And this is the next big moment that we need to see him in. And with Dan Marino at that point, he had an unbelievable second season, and he had an unbelievable playoff run until the Super Bowl, and then the 49ers beat him down in that game. So it's going to be interesting to see how Patrick responds. What I've really liked about Patrick, as I've watched him more and more, is the things that he says, is the way that he talks about work ethic, the way that he talks about being humble, the way that he gives credit to the people around him. To me, those traits are things that not only your teammates can get behind and believe in, but it's going to serve you well as you keep getting this success. And to me, it's a trademark of the greatness of Tom Brady.
I definitely agree with you, Coach. And what's on the line for Patrick Mahomes also here is his legacy. As you mentioned, Nick, quarterbacks, when they get these rings under their belt, that's what they're measured at when it comes to, at the end of the day, are they the GOAT? Are they the greatest? When Rodgers won his first Super Bowl, we wasn't comparing him as the greatest at that time in the NFL. We compared him as the greatest ever because we thought he was going to get there 3 and 4 times. If Patrick Mahomes can get a Super Bowl this early, it will staple him, like you said, in that Hall of Fame discussion, because if he just get 2 rings, I think his numbers will be eventually better than Eli's. It'll be up there with Ben Roethlisberger's just because the marriage with him and Andy Reid. Andy Reid's going to always keep weapons around him. So getting a Super Bowl early is going to matter going later in his career when he try to stockpile Super Bowls.
Oh, Brandon, I think you can go maybe even a step further. You mentioned the Hall of Fame. If they win Sunday, it would take a sports catastrophe for him to not be a Hall of Famer. If you win a league MVP and you're a quarterback for a Super Bowl winning team, Joe Theismann did that. He's the only one who checks those boxes who's not in the Hall of Fame. Joe Theismann, with respect to Joe, who I like a lot, did not have near the talent or the supporting cast Patrick Mahomes does. If they win the championship this year, the only thing that would stop him from being a Hall of Famer is a shortened career, something out of that we can't anticipate happening. And I know you did give me a hard time, and you continue to give me a hard time saying I was in on Patrick Mahomes early, but that I was in by his 4th game of his career. I was saying, oh, he's going to be a Hall of Famer, which I wasn't. But I am saying it now, right? I am saying right now that if they win Sunday, he is going to be a Hall of Famer because he's checked the boxes you need to check. The rest are just playing out, see how high up the mountain he can go.
It's funny because we're so quick to predict years down the road.
Yep.
And to me, that's one of the biggest traps in sports is there's this assumption that you get to start where you left off, and that's what kills teams after they have success. You have to do all the things that you did well better each year after that because everybody's studying you, everybody's chasing you, the motivations change, team dynamics change. And it's a hard lesson to learn. Like I said, I enjoy the way he's approached things, and it seems like he's wired the right way. But with all that fame and $200 million, it can have different effects on people.
But I'm just curious, if he plays well and doesn't win, where do you place Patrick Mahomes at that point? He still had the same trajectory to the start of his career.
Listen, he's still the best player in football, but then all of a sudden, and this is why these little, Jenna, you and I have talked about this.
Lamar was the best player in football.
You keep saying that. I never once said that, Coach. I said he had the best.
Weeks and weeks.
No,
that.
It's not true. You keep saying that. It's not accurate. I said he had the best season. I was fair to Lamar.
He's the best player that's not playing in the Super Bowl.
No, he had the best season, but no one. I've never wavered from week 4 of last year. It was very obvious who the most talented player in the NFL was. And by the way, since that Niners game last year when Jimmy Garoppolo unfortunately got his knee blown out, it was very clear who the best player in the NFL was. But to Jenna's point, if they don't win, then you're like, okay, you had home field advantage last year, you lose to Brady. This year you're a favorite, even though it's just the slightest of favorites. You lose to Jimmy Garoppolo. Then the narrative starts to turn a different way. That's how sports are, especially in the NFL with one-game samples. No matter your talent, if you can have the season Lamar had and have your worst game of the year at the worst possible time, and the narrative turns on you entirely. So I don't think it would flip on Patrick entirely, but it'd be going down a different track.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.